Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Newshour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lin. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Soon after returning from Bhutan, Prime Minister Modi visits blast victims in a Delhi hospital, vows justice and support. President Murmu's historic Botswana visit deepens ties, seals Cheetah Pact, and strengthens diamond sector cooperation. Growing unease within the UK Labour Party, rising stars could challenge Prime Minister Starmer's leadership. US President Trump urges Israeli President to pardon Netanyahu, calls the corruption trial political prosecution. The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has expressed its profound grief over the loss of lives in the terrorist incident involving a car explosion near the Red Fort in Delhi on Monday. The Cabinet also observed 2 minutes silence in honor of innocent lives lost. The Cabinet also recorded its appreciation for the statements of solidarity and support from many governments around the world.
The country has witnessed a heinous terror incident perpetrated by anti-national forces through a car explosion near the Red Fort on the evening of 10th November 2025. The explosion resulted in multiple fatalities and caused injuries to several others. The Cabinet pays its respects to the victims of this senseless act of violence and conveys its heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. The Cabinet prays for the speedy recovery of all those injured and appreciates the prompt efforts of the medical personnel and emergency responders who have been providing care and support to the victims. The Cabinet unequivocally condemns this dastardly and cowardly act that has led to the loss of innocent lives. The Cabinet reiterates India's unwavering commitment to a policy of zero tolerance towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. The Cabinet also recorded its appreciation for the statements of solidarity and support from many governments around the world. The Cabinet notes with appreciation the timely and coordinated response of the authorities, security agencies, and citizens who acted with courage and compassion in the face of adversity. Their dedication and sense of duty are deeply commendable. The Cabinet directs that the investigation into the incident be pursued with the utmost urgency and professionalism so that the perpetrators, their collaborators, and their sponsors are identified and brought to justice without delay. The situation continues to be closely monitored at the highest levels of the government. The Cabinet reaffirms the government's steadfast resolve to safeguard the lives and well-being of all Indians, consistent with its enduring commitment to national security and the safety of every citizen.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the LNJP hospital in Delhi to meet victims of the recent car blast incident. During his interaction, he expressed solidarity with the injured and their families and assured that those responsible for the conspiracy would be brought to justice. Let's look at this report.
On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, upon returning from Bhutan, made an immediate visit to the Lok Nayak Jayaprakash Hospital in Delhi to meet victims of the recent car blast incident. PM interacted with the victims and their families at the hospital. PM Modi also inquired about their treatment and conveyed his heartfelt prayers for their swift and complete recovery. Expressing deep concern over the incident, Prime Minister reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring justice. Meanwhile, in a significant development on Wednesday evening, Faridabad police seized a red Ford EcoSport. suspected to be linked to the prime accused, Dr. Omar Un-Nabi, in the Delhi blast case. The vehicle, discovered parked near Khandavali village, is now under intense security as investigations deepen. Earlier in the day, Delhi police issued a citywide alert across all stations, posts, and border checkposts to locate a Red Ford EcoSport. The alert was issued after investigations revealed that other suspects already connected to the Hyundai i20 used in the explosion were also in possession of another red colored car. The investigation gained momentum after the National Investigation Agency assumed control of the case. NIA teams meticulously inspected the blast site and re examined vehicles parked near Red Fort at the time of the explosion. Officials questioned vehicle owners to determine the duration of their parking and whether these vehicles played any role in the incident. Security forces in neighboring regions have also escalated their efforts. In Lucknow, the anti-terrorism squad, in collaboration with the Jammu and Kashmir police, seized the car of Dr. Parvez Ansari, who was arrested for his alleged involvement in the blast. This followed a raid on Ansari's residence on Tuesday. In Maharashtra, the ATS conducted a major operation in Mumra Kausa, targeting the home of teacher Ibrahim Abidi. The raid yielded several electronic devices and digital evidence, which are now undergoing detailed technical analysis. During his visit to Bhutan, PM Modi assured in his speech that those responsible will not be spared and will be brought to justice. The explosion, which occurred on Monday near Red Fort, claimed at least 8 lives and left several others injured, sending shockwaves through the capital and across the country. Bureau Report, DD India.
And correspondent Arun Sharma is on the phone line, and he is going to tell us a little bit about the Cabinet Committee on Securities meeting. Arun, we just heard Minister Vaishnav's briefing. What more news are you getting?
Well, there are two big takeaways as far as the Cabinet meeting or the Cabinet outcome is concerned. Number one is regarding the Cabinet Committee on Security. Now, let me tell you that the Union Cabinet has passed a resolution on the explosion that took place near the Red Fort in New Delhi. Now, if you look at the entire resolution, twice the word terror and terrorism, are being used. So the big takeaways as far as the resolutions are concerned, we know this fact that the country has witnessed a heinous terror incident perpetrated by anti-national forces. So this is the big takeaway as far as the resolution is concerned. The Union Cabinet also pays its solemn respects to the victims of this senseless act of violence and conveys its heartfelt condolences. Important aspect is that the Union Cabinet has unequivocally condemned this dastardly and cowardly attack that has led to the loss of the innocent lives. Now, the another big takeaway is that the Union Cabinet has talked about the government's policy of zero tolerance towards the terrorism. So the Union Cabinet has again reiterated this fact that India's unwavering commitment to a policy of zero tolerance towards terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. So this is a big takeaway as far as the resolution is concerned on the explosion that took place near the Red Fort in New Delhi. Now, of course, the Cabinet has directed that the investigation into the incident be pursued with the most urgency and professionalism so that the perpetrators and the sponsors are identified and brought to justice without delay. In fact, we also know this fact, Mark, that Prime Minister Narendra Modi, when he was on his visit to Bhutan, he clearly gave a strong message from there that the perpetrators or the forces that are behind this heinous crime or the terror will be brought to justice. So this gives a strong message as well that yes, the perpetrators or the sponsor of this terror activity, of course, will be brought to justice.
We leave it there. Thank you very much, Arun Sharma, for those updates. Now, India has consistently demonstrated a resolute stance against terrorism, proactively implementing measures to thwart potential threats. Recent actions by the nation's security forces have successfully prevented several terror activities, showcasing India's unwavering commitment to safeguarding its citizens and maintaining national security. In the most recent incident on November 10, a joint team of the Jammu and Kashmir and Haryana police recovered over 2,900 kilograms of explosives from Faridabad. The Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad arrested 2 youths linked to Pakistan-based terrorists on November 9th. On November 7th, the Rajasthan Anti-Terrorism Squad arrested an individual who was in contact with the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. On the 27th of October, Delhi police arrested 2 terrorists and dismantled the ISIS-inspired module named Sawt-ul-Ummah and a Jaish-e-Mohammed module that was active in 3 states was neutralized on October 13. The special cell of the Delhi police busted a pan-India terrorist module and arrested 5 suspected terrorists from various states on the 11th of September. On the 27th of August, the NIA arrested a wanted criminal in the Vizianagaram ISIS module case. In a counter-terror operation in Poonch on the 11th of July, the Army and the J&K police had conducted a raid on terrorist hideouts. Intelligence teams in Hyderabad arrested 2 suspects on May 19th in connection with a Saudi ISIS-related module. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Bhutan concluded with a strong reaffirmation of India's deep-rooted ties with the Himalayan kingdom. The Prime Minister met Bhutan's 4th king, Jigme Singye Wangchuk, for a warm exchange and also shared priorities and regional cooperation. And he later joined Bhutan's current king, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, and Prime Minister Shering Tobgay at the Global Peace Prayer Festival that underscored the spiritual and cultural bonds between the 2 nations. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh reports. On day 2 of his state visit to Bhutan, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held talks with the 4th Druk Gyalpo Jigme Singye Wangchuk. The leaders discussed cooperation in energy, trade, technology and connectivity. PM appreciated the extensive efforts of the former king over the years towards further cementing India-Bhutan ties and lauded the progress in the Gyalpo Mindfulness City project, which aligns with India's Act East policy. Later in the day, the Prime Minister joined the King of Bhutan, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, the royal family and PM Shering Tobgay for the ongoing Global Peace Prayer Festival at the Changli Mithang Stadium in Thimphu. Amidst Buddhist chants and spiritual atmosphere, PM participated in the Kala Chakra initiation ceremony. The Kala Chakra empowerment is a sacred Buddhist ceremony that carries a universal message of peace, compassion and harmony. It promotes the belief that world peace arises from individual inner peace, and thus the empowerment serves as a reminder of the shared responsibility to foster understanding and coexistence among all beings. Thousands of Buddhist monks and followers from Bhutan and the world had gathered at the stadium for the ceremony. Before concluding his visit, PM Modi stopped to greet and engage with Buddhist monks at the venue. Early on Tuesday, giving a boost to development cooperation between the 2 neighbors, Prime Minister Modi, along with the King of Bhutan, inaugurated the 1,020-megawatt Punat Sangchu 2 hydroelectric project developed jointly by India and Bhutan. The leaders witnessed exchange of MOUs in the fields of renewable energy and healthcare. Government of India also announced a concessional line of credit of INR 4,000 crores for Bhutan to fund energy projects. India is providing land in Varanasi for building a Bhutanese temple, monastery and guest house. The 2 sides underlined the importance of improving cross-border connectivity and infrastructure through integrated checkposts and cross-border rail links. In Thimphu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also addressed an event to mark the 70th birth anniversary of the 4th King of Bhutan. The Prime Minister was on a 2-day state visit to the Himalayan kingdom from the 11th to the 12th of November.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Bhutan marked an important milestone in the relations between the close neighbors. While the modern development partnership was taken forward, it also energized the civilizational and spiritual connection, sending out a message of peace and solidarity. With camera person Senthil, Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India in Thimphu.
The people of Bhutan expressed gratitude to the government of India under Prime Minister Modi's leadership for bringing Lord Buddha's holy relics Now, the holy relics brought from India to Bhutan for an 11-day display were carried by a high-level Indian delegation led by the Union Minister for Social Justice and Empowerment, Dr. Virendra Kumar. Local Bhutanese people expressed deep gratitude to the Government of India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi for this historic gesture. They said that bringing the relics to Bhutan has given them a rare opportunity to pay homage to Lord Buddha without having to travel abroad, something that would have required significant expense and effort.
I would like to thank our Honorable Prime Minister of the India, because in coinciding with that 17th birth anniversary of His Majesty King, so we are very lucky to have such relics in Bhutan.
Buddha is a very holy, a great teacher for us, and bringing a part of him in Bhutan, a very authentic part in Bhutan, and we're very grateful for that. And we would like to thank PM Modi and all our Indian brothers and sisters for this great initiative.
This is a very historic and auspicious event. It's the very first time that the Piprawa Kapil Vastu relics have been brought to Bhutan, and it offers our people the rare opportunity to connect with, in the tangible form, with the Buddha himself. We would like to thank the Government of India, the International Buddhist Confederation, and the National Museum of India, as well as the Government of Bhutan for making this exposition possible.
And the youth of Bhutan stood on the road across the stretch from Thimphu to Paro over a span of kilometers, in fact, to catch a glimpse of Prime Minister Narendra Modi and applauded him during his visit to Bhutan from the 11th to the 12th of November. Still to come on DD India Newshour. US President Donald Trump says that he has an obligation to sue the BBC for misrepresenting his comments. US shutdown nearing its end as the House is to take up the bill for voting. And the Ukrainian forces pull back under fierce Russian pressure in Zaporizhia.
I have been a strong critic of British colonialism, but I don't personally believe that we can blame everything on the British anymore. Kerala, in 1957, elected a communist government, the first ever democratically elected communist government anywhere in the world.
Can the Kerala model be implemented in other Indian states as well?
Very good question to which I can't give you a simple answer.
You're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Mark Lynn. The Union Cabinet, chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday, approved the Export Promotion Mission. Now, this mission is designed to enhance India's export competitiveness, especially for MSMEs, first-time exporters and labour-intensive sectors. Union Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said that the mission aims to build a stronger and more resilient export ecosystem.
I'll first come to the Export Promotion Mission. This is a very comprehensive mission which has been approved by the Cabinet under the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister today. As you recall, in the previous budget, this announcement was made that one export promotion mission will be started. तो आज ये export promotion mission start किया गया है. 25,060 करोड़ रुपए का इसका आउटले है. 6 साल की इसकी अवधि है और इसमें बहुत ही कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव तरीके से पूरे कंप्लीट एक्सपोर्ट की इकोसिस्टम को सपोर्ट करने का इसमें डिसीजन लिया गया.
Reports of turmoil within the UK Labour government are gaining traction. The Health Minister, Wes Streeting, has firmly denied plotting to unseat the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. The denials come amid slipping poll numbers and growing unease within Labour ranks. With a crucial budget due later this month, tensions in Downing Street are rising.
After reports surfaced that possible leadership change in UK is likely following budget presentation, British Health Minister Wes Streeting denied plotting to oust Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Streeting, seen as a rising star in Labour, told broadcasters the rumours were categorically untrue and called the internal briefing self-defeating. Speaking to BBC Radio 4, Streeting said the briefing showed there are people around the Prime Minister who do not follow his model and style of leadership.
But what I can tell you is that that briefing is categorically untrue. I think it's extremely unhelpful, not least because it basically says from a number 10 source the Prime Minister's fighting for his own job. No, he's not. He's fighting to turn around the country.
The denials came as Starmer's government's battles falling poll ratings just 16 months after Labour's landslide 2024 victory. The Prime Minister faces growing unrest within his party ahead of a November 26 budget expected to include tax rises, breaking a key election pledge. In the House of Commons, Starmer rejected claims by Conservative leader Kemi Badenoch that there is a toxic culture in Downing Street, saying the government is not at war with itself.
Let me be absolutely clear. Any attack on any member of my cabinet is completely unacceptable. On the Health Secretary, Mr. Speaker, in relation to Health Secretary, he promised before the election that in the first year of a Labour government we'd deliver 2 million extra appointments. We didn't deliver 2 million, or 3 or 4. We delivered 5 million extra appointments.
Allies of Starmer vowed to fight back any leadership challenge amid speculation that both Streeting and Interior Minister Shabana Mahmood could be potential successors. Starmer steered his Labour Party to one of the biggest election victories in British history in 2024, but just 16 months later it's languishing in the polls and poised to break one of its main election pledges to increase income taxes for the first time since the 1970s. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
And US President Donald Trump said on Monday that he feels an obligation to sue the British Broadcasting Corporation, the BBC, accusing the broadcaster of misrepresenting his remarks ahead of the January 21 Capitol attacks. The president's comments come as the BBC faces its most significant upheaval in decades. The British Broadcasting Corporation has been plunged into its biggest crisis in decades after two of its senior-most staff had quit following criticism over standards and accusations of bias at the BBC, including over how it had edited the speech of Trump in a documentary that
They
was
actually
aired.
changed my January 6th speech, which was a beautiful speech, which was a very calming speech, and they made it sound radical. And they actually changed it. What they did was rather incredible. They're showing me the results later on, the results of what they did, how they butchered it up.
But tonight you are saying to our viewers that you will go forward and file a defamation lawsuit against the BBC.
Well, I think I have an obligation to do it because you can't allow people to do that.
Well, the US President Donald Trump urged the Israeli President Isaac Herzog to consider granting a pardon to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Herzog's office on Wednesday said that it had received a letter from Trump. Netanyahu had been facing a long-running corruption trial, and Trump has repeatedly asked for his pardon, and because Netanyahu is a close ally. Netanyahu denies the charges and has pleaded not guilty. The office said that anyone seeking a presidential pardon must submit a formal request in accordance with the established procedures. During Trump's visit to Israel in October, he had also urged Herzog to pardon the Prime Minister in an address to Parliament in Jerusalem. The U.S. House of Representatives is expected to vote on Wednesday on a Senate-passed funding bill to reopen the government. The final legislation extends funding for most agencies until January 30, which is good for them, and it includes 3 full-year funding bills also for some parts of the government. Now, the House Republicans are confident that the package will clear the lower chamber. It's going to clear it. That means it's going to be passed there. And President Trump is expected to sign it into law. The Senate approved the deal on Monday night, in fact, and the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, has said that he expects that it's going to pass the chamber as well. Meanwhile, members of the House of Representatives headed back to Washington on Tuesday after a 53-day break, braving the congestion at the nation's tangled airports for a vote that could bring the longest U.S. government shutdown in history to a close. With nearly 1,200 flights cancelled on Tuesday due to the shutdown, lawmakers, including the Republican Representatives Rick Crawford of Arkansas and Trent Kelly of Mississippi, said they were carpooling to the Capitol, where Representative Derek Van Orden said that he was making the 16-hour drive from Wisconsin on his motorcycle. The External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar met the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Wednesday on the sidelines of the G7 Foreign Ministers meeting in Canada. The two leaders discussed trade, supply chains and key geopolitical issues, including the Ukraine conflict, the Middle East situation and the Indo-Pacific. Jaishankar also thanked Rubio for his condolences over the recent blast in Delhi. Let's take a look at other stories making news from around the world. In a lucky encounter on Monday, a 61-year-old windsurfer in Western Australia narrowly survived a suspected shark attack, which left a massive bite mark on his board but caused him no injuries. The incident occurred while he was out on the water, highlighting the risks now faced by ocean-goers in this region. Prague's St. Vitus Cathedral will get a new organ. Prague's iconic St. Vitus Cathedral is finally receiving a long-awaited new organ set for inauguration in 2026. The instrument boasts more than 6,000 pipes ranging from millimeters to 11 meters. It was first assembled in Spain and it was dismantled and transported to Prague by truck, where tuning is now underway. Once introduced to fight desertification, the invasive Prosposis plant is now spreading uncontrollably across Ethiopia, threatening ecosystems and rural livelihoods. Farmers report that livestock have died, and this is after eating the toxic pods. But NGOs are helping communities now harvest and also repurpose this plant so that parts of it can actually be used as animal feed, and charcoal briquettes also can be made out of them, turning a growing menace into some potential opportunity. Still to come here on DD India Newshour. We put into perspective President Murmu's visit to Botswana with an expert.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots. to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Well, you're watching DD India Newshour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, President Murmu's historic Botswana visit has been instrumental in deepening ties with President Boko in a goodwill gesture, announcing the donation of 8 cheetahs to India under the Cheetah Reintroduction Project. Strengthening diamond sector cooperation as well was another hallmark as President Murmu visited a diamond facility. While addressing the Parliament of Botswana, President Murmu talked of both the countries building a sustainable world order, helping build meaningful global South cooperation and collaboration, and also reformed multilateralism. Here's a report from Shabir Da in Botswana.
President Draupadi Murmu, while addressing the Parliament of Botswana, said that India and Botswana can together contribute meaningfully to a fairer and more sustainable world order, one that not only supports but also helps build meaningful global South collaboration and a reformed multilateralism. She also said that with its youthful demographics and vast natural resources, Africa can fuel the growth of global economy.
India and Botswana can together contribute meaningfully to a fairer and more sustainable world order. One that not only supports but also helps build meaningful global South collaboration and a reformed multilateralism. We thank the government of Botswana for their support to India's efforts for a reformed and expanded UN Security Council. In the larger context of South-South cooperation, the role of Africa cannot be overstated. Africa is the continent of the future. With its youthful demographics and vast natural resources, the continent can fuel the growth of global economy.
Earlier, President Draupadi Murmu and her Botswana counterpart held wide-ranging one-to-one meetings and delegation-level talks, where they agreed to expand cooperation in key sectors, including trade and investment, agriculture, renewable energy, health, education, skill development, defense, and digital technology.
Our discussions covered the full range of bilateral, regional, and global issues of mutual interest. We reaffirmed the deep and friendly ties between India and Botswana, founded on shared democratic values and mutual respect. We agreed to expand cooperation in key sectors, including trade and investment, agriculture, renewable energy, health, education, skill development, defense, and digital technology.
The president said that India is committed to working closely with Botswana to further deepen its ties and to expanding its partnership with Africa. The two nations also signed 3 memoranda of understanding to institutionalize cooperation in critical areas, including the one in health and pharmaceuticals. The others are on cultural exchanges and capacity building. In a significant goodwill gesture, President Boko announced that Botswana will donate 8 cheetahs to India under the Cheetah Reintroduction Project. President Murmu expressed profound gratitude, noting that the cheetahs would join the growing population at Kuno National Park. The president visited the office of the Diamond Trading Company in Gaborone, Botswana. She was given a presentation on the diamond mining and the diamond industry in Botswana. The president visited the 3 Dikkosi monument with bronze sculpture in the capital city, Gaborone. The statues depict 3 Dikkosi, or tribal chiefs, who played important roles in Botswana's independence.
Overall, the visit is being seen as an important visit, which is definitely going to give a fresh impetus to the bilateral relations between the two countries on various sectors. With camera person Ramakant, Shabir Dar for DD India in Botswana.
And 3 years after the launch of Project Cheetah, India is set to receive 8 new cheetahs from Botswana. President Draupadi Murmu will formally accept them during her state visit. marking a new chapter in India-Botswana cooperation and also a major step forward in the global wildlife conservation program.
3 years after the launch of the Project Cheetah, Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visionary initiative to bring back the world's fastest land animal to India, the project now enters its next phase. India is set to welcome 8 new cheetahs from Botswana, a country that stands as one of the last strongholds of the species in the wild. In a moment rich with symbolism and friendship, President Draupadi Murmu, during her state visit to Botswana, will formally receive the cheetahs from President Duma Gideon Boko on November 14, 2025. Botswana was chosen for this next chapter because it, along with Namibia, shelters more than half of the southern Africa's cheetah population, making it vital for ensuring genetic diversity and long-term success of India's reintroduced cheetah population. The mission was a remarkable display of international teamwork. A high-level delegation from Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change, Government of India, led by Director General of Forest and Special Secretary Sushil Kumar Awasthi, visited Botswana in September 2025. The field team, led by wildlife veterinarians Dr. Eric Vernian of Wild Assist Africa, Botswana, and Dr. Sanat Mulia, nodal veterinarian from Project Cheetah, NTCA, working closely with Botswana wildlife officials, expert trackers from private ranchers, and researchers from Cheetah Conservation Botswana. Together, they formed a cohesive unit operating across vast stretches of savanna. Expert veterinarians and wildlife officials from both nations spent weeks tracking, darting, and safely capturing cheetahs from the vast savannas of the Ganzi district. This moment marks more than a conservative milestone. It's a powerful reflection of India and Botswana's shared commitment to wildlife protection and ecological restoration. Together, they are writing a new chapter in the global story of cheetah's return to the wild. Taposh Bhattacharya's report, TD India.
And we're joined by Ambassador Gurjeet Singh, former senior diplomat, to help us unpack this story. Thanks very much, Ambassador Singh. Now, how has President Murmu's visit actually advanced India-Africa cooperation in key sectors, MOUs and pharmaceuticals, capacity building, cultural exchange?
President Murmu's visit to Botswana has shown India's development cooperation in full form. And I must compliment the people who organized this visit for the wide and diverse agenda that they have provided. You have shown a lot of the cheetahs, and now Botswana is likely to join the Big Cats Alliance. Botswana is already a member of the International Solar Alliance and the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. So now we are looking at expanding trade and investment, energy and renewable energy, and looking at other aspects like skill development and defense. One of the areas where I think we have made a stride is by promising supply of antiretroviral drugs.
Yes.
Now you see in Botswana, almost 20% of the people between 15 and 64 years of age are HIV positive.
Yes.
This is one of the highest rates in Africa.
Okay.
And therefore, providing ARVs to them is a fulsome support to the health and development of Botswana.
Now, let's look a little more closely at the cheetah conservation efforts. 8 cheetahs, and we're looking at, trying creating some sort of bigger gene pool between the cheetahs. How does it actually reflect the conservation efforts of both the nations?
As your report rightly said, that it's Namibia and Botswana which hold the bulk of African cheetahs. So far, I think we have got cheetahs from Namibia and from South Africa. And now when we had even the Botswanan cheetahs coming in, this will diversify the gene pool that is in India. And when mating takes place, and already as under Project Cheetah, so many cubs have been born. I think you will get a healthier litter of cubs, and you will have better chances of survival and flourishing cheetah population in Kuno and beyond.
Ambassador Singh, also in what way, did President Murmu's engagement with Botswana's diamond industry sort of strengthen India's role in value addition and also skill development? And after all, the diamond sector is something that India can contribute a great deal to in terms of polishing.
Since the first state visit that the president of Botswana, Advocate Bokko, is receiving in his term. So it has its own significance. And they were evidently very clearly out to put their best foot forward. Diamond trade is the core of India-Botswana trade besides skill development. Out of the $500 million of bilateral trade that India and Botswana have, it is diamond which constitute the bulk, because Botswana is the second largest producer of rough diamonds in the world. This diamond trading center that you are showing has been in existence for a few years, and during the India-Africa Summit 2, India had offered to augment the capacity of cutting and polishing in Botswana by even setting up an institution. Lots of Indian companies have invested there and have also started local cutting, so that it is not only rough diamonds, but some value addition is done locally to give Botswanans a piece of the big diamond lucrative pie. So I think diamonds are a core of the economy, the investment, the trade, and the skill development aspects of India and Botswana working together.
And, we always use these terms like shared democratic values, all sorts of, and also global governance and things like that. To what extent are these actually, seriously understood where during meetings like this, and how they reaffirm, actually the shared democratic values that the countries share, and also they have mutual respect for the institutions of governance in the global world?
Any country, these words have meaning. It is in Botswana. Botswana is perhaps the most democratic of the countries in Africa. When the Africa peer review mechanism was set up, Botswana was among the first to submit itself voluntarily to peer review. It has won the Mo Ibrahim Prize for good governance in Africa, though that prize has not been awarded for the last 5 years since. Similarly, Botswana has held regular elections, and I think they have changed government 3 times, bringing back President Boko's party after a hiatus. So they are truly a democratic government which has good governance at its core. And I think with them, these words ring true.
You also did mention about the supply of antiretroviral drugs. And India is also a broader role India plays, in public health in Africa, in the health infrastructure sector as well. There's pharmaceuticals. To what extent has all this really enhanced ties and trust?
If I remember correctly, perhaps India has supported public health facilities in Botswana earlier as well. You see, Botswana is not a very large country. It has 2.6 million people. It is about 1/10 the size of Delhi in terms of population. And yet you can see the prevalence of HIV. So that is a major risk to this country. It is a well-governed country, but given its small size and small economy, the opportunities for trade and investment have been limited, and India has used them well. However, Botswana is a member of the Southern Africa Customs Union, which links it quite inexorably to South Africa's economy. So it is India's trade with South Africa which actually comes into Botswana rather than direct trade. And yes, Botswana is a member of the Southern Africa Development Community and the Common Market. for Eastern and Southern Africa. But I'm afraid it has not really developed its trade with India to any large degree. They use the ITEC program very well, and lots of Botswanians are trained in India in a variety of fields. And for almost a decade, an Indian army training team was in Botswana training their forces. So I think we have done a fulsome job in engaging with them, as I said at the beginning, in the full value of India's development cooperation with Botswana.
And on that note, we'll conclude this discussion. Thank you very much, Ambassador Gurjeet Singh. Thank you for helping us understand the President's visit to Botswana in greater detail. Now, still to come here on DD India News Hour. The Argentinian star Lionel Messi's international future reignites once again. He says that he doesn't want to be a burden on the Argentinian team for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. India's contingent for the 25th Summer Deaf Olympics in Tokyo gets a warm send-off from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. After weeks of delay, the Congresswoman Adelita Grijaleva will be sworn in into the United States' House of Representatives on Wednesday. The Arizona Democrat is expected to immediately press for a vote on releasing the investigative files tied to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Grijaleva, in fact, won her seat in Arizona's 7th Congressional District on the 23rd of September with nearly 69% of the vote. But her swearing in was, in fact, postponed when the federal government shutdown began on October 1. Once sworn in, Grijalva will, in fact, she has pledged, in fact, to join a bipartisan effort in Congress to force a vote on ordering the U.S. Justice Department to publicly release the investigative files related to Epstein, who had died in custody before his trial on, the new sex trafficking charges. The Ukraine top military commander has conceded that the army's situation has significantly worsened in parts of the southern Zaporizhia region, where the Ukrainian forces have withdrawn from 5 villages. The Ukrainian army said earlier that orders to withdraw from 5 villages in Zaporizhia were given after the de facto destruction of all shelters and fortifications following intensive Russian artillery strikes. According to the Ukrainian army, control of 3 other villages is also being hotly contested between Russian and Ukrainian forces northeast of the town of Huliapol in Zaporizhia. The death toll from the sinking of a boat carrying Rohingya refugees of Malaysia's Langkawi Island has risen to 29 after rescue teams recovered 2 more bodies on Wednesday. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency said both victims were male and their remains have been handed over to authorities. The vessel carrying members of Myanmar's persecuted Rohingya Muslim minority sank near Malaysia-Thailand maritime border over the weekend. Indigenous leaders from different regions of Brazil and government authorities take part in the official opening of the People's Summit, a parallel event to COP30 that brings together social movements, environmental organizations and traditional communities in Belém. And this ceremony aims to highlight the importance of the voices of the people of the forest and also to ensure that their demands are at the center of discussions on the climate crisis. The summit begins the day after indigenous demonstrators and their supporters breached security barriers at the main entrance to the conference hall in Belém, and they scuffled with security officials there as well. Global oil and gas demand could continue growing until mid-century, the International Energy Agency said on Wednesday, marking a sharp departure from earlier forecasts of a rapid transition to cleaner fuels. The Paris-based watchdog also warned the world is unlikely to meet its climate goal of limiting temperature, the rise of temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. The shift comes amid U.S. criticism of the IEA's climate focus. In its World Energy Outlook, the IEA projected oil demand could reach 113 million barrels per day by 2050 under current policies, about 13% higher than 2024 levels. The report also highlighted surging investment in liquefied natural gas, that's LNG, and also with new proposals set to boost global export capacity by 50% by 2030. You're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you the sports news. And the conversation surrounding Lionel Messi's international future has reignited once again as the 2022 World Cup winners continue to leave the door open. In fact, Messi is continuing to leave the door open because Messi on Wednesday, he said that he doesn't want to be a burden to his national team at the 2026 World Cup, but he hopes to be fit and also contribute to the team's title defense in the United States, Canada and Mexico. He's 38 years old now, and the forward said that he was hopeful to play in next summer's tournament, but he was still approaching it on a day-to-day basis.
A World Cup is special. It's special to play with the national team and even more so in important and official tournaments. With everything that a World Cup means and after winning it, it's special too. But as I was saying, I don't want to be, in inverted commas, a burden. I want to feel good physically and be sure that I can help and contribute to the team.
India's contingent for the 25th Summer Deaf Olympics were given a warm send-off at Delhi on Wednesday, and the official kit for the Team India heading to Tokyo was also unveiled at the Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium. Secretary Sports Hari Ranjan Rao interacted with the athletes and wished them success at the Games, which will be held in Tokyo from November 15 to 26. India is sending its largest ever contingent of 111 members, including athletes and support staff. The first batch will depart from Tokyo, in fact, will depart for Tokyo on Thursday. India will compete in 11 disciplines, including athletics, badminton, shooting, swimming, table tennis and wrestling.
We are having great hopes from all of you, but you must also remember that your performance there on the field in Tokyo will inspire millions of children back home to take up to the sports and make country proud and make their parents proud. So you are not only making yourself present there, you are not making your parents proud, but you are making the entire country proud.
I've been to many international championships previous year in Brazil. I have got gold medal in mixed doubles, gold medal in singles, gold medal in doubles. Yes, I am the flag bearer. I am very proud. And I feel really motivated. This is the first time that I am being the flag bearer. Earlier I have not got the chance to do the same, so I am really proud of it.
India's archers continued their superb run at the Asian Archery Championships 2025 in Dhaka as the compound mixed team duo of Abhishek Verma and Deepshika stormed into the final on Wednesday. The Indian pair clinched a thrilling 156-153 victory over Kazakhstan in the semi-finals. The Indian pair will now take on the host nation, Bangladesh, in the final on Thursday at 10:40 a.m. Indian Standard Time. That's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app, available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.